Uncensored.
It's time, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the podcast that is all about intellectually immature nonsense.
Are a very particular set of skills.
And by God, this is the BS.
Uncensored.
Here it is. Episode 7 of the BS Uncensored. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. There's Nikki D. There's Nelson. I wanted to start off this episode being very angry at a very popular band, one person in the band in particular, but that's just going to have to wait because we do have a guest for this episode. I want to bring her on here. Our guest is, this story is absolutely amazing. Being a survivor of anything is one thing, but being a survivor of Ted Bundy, among other things, is next level awesome. And that's who our guest is here at this time with her memoir, A Light in the Dark, Surviving More Than Ted Bundy. Let's welcome to the show, Kathy Kleiner. How are you, Kathy?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking me to be on your show.
No, your story is...
you coming on?
1978, January 1978, that was the scene where Bundy went into your sorority house at Florida State, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember, I'm 48, and I remember when he was executed in Florida. And then it would always go back to the scene at FSU where he snuck into your sorority house. What year were you at school at that time, Kathy?
I was a sophomore.
You're a sophomore, and so did you just pledge that year, or you had been in the sorority since your freshman year?
Joined in my freshman year and accepted as a sister. And in the summer of '77, I moved into the sorority house.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a great honor to move into the sorority house.
Sure, yeah, and you had a roommate, and
yes.
And that evening on January 15th, when Bundy came in there and murdered numerous people in your sorority house. So walk us through, because when he came into your room, your roommate is deceased after this, correct?
No, she was a victim as well. She got beat with the same piece of wood that he had beaten me with.
Oh, okay.
She lived.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember it like it was yesterday, like you laid down to bed at what time and then what time you were woken up and all that stuff?
Yes, I do. I remember I had gone to bed about 11:30 on the 15th. It was I was studying for a calculus test. I remember right when I went to bed when I was falling asleep with that. So we turned off the lights and I seemed to go right to sleep. And everything seemed normal. And sometime in the middle of the night, and the room's real dark, I hear the door opening and the swish against the carpet, the bottom of the door. So I'm opening my eyes a little bit because I heard the noise, but I couldn't see anything. Again, the room was very dark. And then the next thing I remember is someone tripping over the little foot locker, the little locker we had between my bed and my roommate's bed. And he tripped over that. Now that woke me up. And I'm looking, and all I can see is the silhouette of somebody. It was real dark, and it just saw dark on dark. And then I saw him lift his arm up over his head, and he had something in his hand. I didn't know what it was. And within seconds, he slammed it down on my face.
Oh.
And he broke my cheek. It was torn open. I broke my jaw in 3 places. Also, my tongue was almost bit off.
Did he hit you first or your roommate?
He hit me first.
Okay.
And then my roommate.
Yeah. And were you the...
And then he thought I was alive. He thought I was dead, but when I was trying to speak and yell and anything I could, all I was making were gurgling sounds because of the trauma to my face.
Well, was your room the first room that he went into?
No, actually, he went into Margaret Bowman's room, and he attacked her with that oak club that he had brought into the house from a firewood pile we had outside. And he attacked her and beat her and strangled her. And then he left that room and went across the hall to Lisa Levy's room. And once again, she was asleep in her bed. She was alone in the room. And he attacked her. He strangled her. He beat her with the same piece of oak log. And that's when he came across the hall and went into our room.
And so you guys just didn't hear anything that was happening at all?
No, I did not. Our door was closed, and it was pretty quiet in there. I didn't hear anything.
How did he get into, usually sorority houses are locked. I'm assuming they were the same as they are now today back in 1978. How did he get in?
The door was broken. The lock was broken on the door. So he must have seen sorority sisters just walk in. So that's what he did. He just walked in.
And why did he leave? Because you were still alive. Was he spooked? Did somebody come in?
Yes. What happened was right after he attacked me, he was going to do it again. And I was then making myself into the smallest ball I could do and clenched my eyes shut because I figured if he didn't see me, if I was real small, maybe he wouldn't attack me again. So at that instant, I'm looking through squinched eyes, and I open a little bit, and I see him raise his arm up again with the oak club in it. And then all of a sudden, the room got really bright. It was a bright light that shone up in our room. And our bedroom faced the back of the sorority house where the parking lot was. And at 3 a.m, there was a boyfriend dropping off his sorority girlfriend. And those lights shone up in our room. And I could see him moving around. He was like spooked and jittery, and he just ran out the door with the light on. And then slowly the light went away, and it was dark in the room again.
When was he caught? Sure. I mean, how much time after this happened in 1978 at the Chi Omega sorority house at FSU was he finally caught?
A couple of weeks. It hadn't been long. He had killed another little girl down in the middle of the state in Lakeland, Florida. He had killed Kimberly Leach, and he left Fiverr, and he wasn't as careful with her as he had been with other victims of his. So the sheriff in Tallahassee thought there was maybe a connection between him, the little girl, and with us being attacked. So that's how he got over there. He was leaving Tallahassee through Pensacola, and he was stopped by a police officer for a car violation, and that's how they caught him.
That's right. Yeah. Did he say anything when he came into your room?
He said nothing.
Wow.
There was no sounds.
I mean, you're just next level evil.
Yeah.
When you're like that, you know?
Yes.
And you're I read that you, Kathy, are a fan of like these true crime shows. You know, isn't that kind of, I mean, like now I'm not trying to make a joke about any of this, you know, and disrespect anybody.
I understand.
But I mean, for somebody to go through that and the other things which we'll get to, you know, I would like strictly stick with comedies, rom-coms and cartoons, but you like the true crime stuff. Do you think that if this did not happen to you, that you would not be so enthralled with that kind of entertainment, I guess?
I totally think so, because if you said true crime community, I'd be like, who? I had no opinion about it until I was attacked. Mm-hmm. That's when I started investigating, and that's when I saw that it was important for me to get my word out that just because you survived a trauma doesn't mean you have to stay locked up in a room, that you can get out there and you can continue life, and you just have to work on it to get strong again.
Now, following all this happening to you, did you find yourself engaging in any kind of like high risk behaviors? Was there any like a survivor's guilt that you had over versus, you know, the two women that sadly lost their life before he attacked you?
I never had survivor's guilt.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've worked hard for what I was doing, and it took me a long time to get to the point where I felt healthy enough to know I can go out and do anything. One of the things I was kind of afraid of were just men in particular. No one in my sights or anything. Just uncomfortable about men I didn't know. So after I got my jaw opened up, I was wired shut for 9 weeks. I went and got a job at a lumber yard because I figured, where am I going to see the most men in the quickest amount of time? And after 3 weeks or so, I said, I don't need to do this. I quit. And the only thing I learned was there's a lot of cute little construction men out there. So I got to see a lot of them.
Have you watched pretty much all of the movies and documentaries regarding Ted Bundy?
Yes, I have. I find him fascinating because of what he portrayed himself as and what he really was.
Yeah.
And for me to understand how was he born or nurtured that way, I just find it very fascinating to see. I don't follow all the serial killers. I mainly focus on him. Of course, we had that relationship, but it's just something I find totally interesting.
Do you have an answer? What do you feel? Is it nature or nurture?
I think it's nature, because when he was a lot younger than someone could teach him how, he was already killing cats and peeing on kids, and he went to a club for Boy Scouts camp, and he was found in there with the Boy Scout leader, and just this deviant behavior as he grew up. And I don't think someone could have taught him to do that because he was so young when he started.
Oh, that makes sense.
But he was a narcissist. Most of them are, but when you have that type of manipulation power, and you can then pair that with good looks. Not most serial killers are good looking, right? He was a very attractive man. So he was able to manipulate these women. And again, this is a different day and age. The 70s and the 80s, this is when people actually trusted people. Like if you had a flat tire on the side of the road, you would stop and help your neighbor.
Yep.
And you didn't think twice. That was the right thing to do.
People even caught rides back then from strangers that they did not know and felt comfortable doing it.
Hitchhiking was a thing.
Yep.
And it was accepted, and that's he was the guy that exploited people's good nature. And, when he went to court, so he was tried in the old Orlando courthouse, which now is a museum. Did you go to the trial?
Yes, I actually testified. I saw Bundy 3 times after the attack. The first time was during his deposition. I was summoned in to give the deposition, and I walked into a conference room, and I sat down at the head of the table, and I looked, and at the other end was Ted Bundy sitting there, really shmugged and like, come on, you're wasting my time. Let's get over this. They're not going to convict me of anything.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I saw him. The second time was during the grand jury, where they decide if there's enough evidence for him to be put on trial. And again, I walked into the room, and I sat at the head of the table, and he was down at the other end of the table. And I remember he had a blue jacket on, and he sat there with his hand on his chin and just kind of like being really bored. So that was the second time I saw him. And the third time was actually during the court case. I was taken into the courtroom and put into the witness box and allowed to see him again. That was I don't know, more interesting or not, because there was a lot to look at. There were, the jury and everything around. So I was heightened as far as my feelings around there. And I wanted so much to put him away, to help make him not be able to hurt anyone any again. And the one question the prosecution asked is, this man you saw in your room that night that attacked you? And I had to say, I don't know, because I never saw his face clearly.
Oh.
And that hurt. That hurt so bad that I wasn't able to help put him away.
Well, I'm sure there were many things that you did that helped put him away. I mean, I know how the defense could twist things up, but it's common knowledge, common sense, that plays a part. Obviously, the guy's dead now. You never got a chance to ask him a question one-on-one.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't need to. I didn't want to. I didn't want to give him any more of my time.
Yeah. If you could have back then, if the judge said, Kathy Kleiner, you have one question for your attempted killer, Ted Bundy, what would you have either said or asked him?
Probably just why. I think that's the simplest way, and let him talk it through.
Yeah, that's it.
So you never got any feelings of remorse from him, or that he ever felt bad for what he did at all to you?
No, I do not. While he was in prison for so many years, 10 years, he was talking and well, I killed 30. No, I mean I killed 60. He admitted to 60 women, and 30 of them. Actually, in my book, 30 of the women, I took their names and their not their face, but their voice, and I put it together with what they wanted to do and what they've done and what their goals were. And I talk about each woman that way, and hopefully I can give them a voice to all of this.
He was also a necrophiliac, wasn't he?
Yes, there were a couple cases where he would kill a woman, and then he'd go back in the trees and the bushes and put makeup on her, and then go ahead and have sex again with her.
Yeah, there was what was the where he was in the woods, and there was like a little cabin or something, and there was people all around, and he went out and he got like one after another and brought them back there. And
weird.
like made him watch or something. I was in it was one of those movies like made, for about, it was actually very interesting because this entire time Ted Bundy had a girlfriend.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Who was
Yes,
clueless.
he did.
Did you ever get to meet her?
No.
You didn't want
Our
to?
lives went different ways. You can imagine from the time this was happening, I was healing my way and she had to heal her way. And as far as this cabin, I'm not familiar with that. Ted Bundy didn't lure his victims. He hit them and killed them in their bed at night. He did not confront people in order to kill them. There were a couple instances where they did have hitchhikers, like he said, but he hit them from behind with a crowbar in his car. It wasn't something, and I don't know anything about a cabin. That's not been something I've heard about and made people watch.
Damn television.
Like I said, I don't know anything about
Got
that.
it wrong.
Damn fucking television. I'm telling you. It's I
Yeah.
always get it
Yeah.
wrong. So what are some other inconsistencies that you pointed out with either a movie or a documentary about Ted Bundy where you're like, that's just not true. I know that's not true, especially about the incident that happened with you when he came into the sorority house in 78.
There have been different versions on how he came into the sorority house and how he snuck through the house and how he actually got to the second floor, to the bedrooms, to Margaret's room and to Lisa's room. Sometimes they have that mixed up. They have one killed before the other, but, I understand that, and their families probably understand that, but it's something that maybe they didn't get right because it wasn't important at the time.
Mm-hmm. You still have nightmares to this day?
No. I walked away from those long time ago.
God, you're strong.
Probably after she went and worked with all those men, right after her incident happened to her. Like, she quickly went to move on and heal from this thing.
Wow. Who did you have? Who did you have in your ear? You had to have had somebody really, really strong near you to help you get through this.
My Cuban mama.
There you go.
I didn't have therapy or anything at all back then. And my mom was, keep your mouth closed. Don't talk about it. Don't draw attention to yourself. And the newspaper in Miami actually put my name and address in the newspaper so that we had people coming by the house and, just, gawking at us. So they actually put a police officer in front of our door on the side of the street. His car was there, and just a safety, we felt safer knowing he was out there than people coming and looking at us.
Right. Did you become a, collector of anything Ted Bundy? And before you answer that, actually, Kathy, so back to the trial that took place in Orlando at the old courthouse, which is now a museum in downtown Orlando. I believe, because I lived in Orlando for many years, I believe the desk that he was sitting at, the table where he carved his name into it, still is in that building. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. So there are other things I'm sure that exist. There's a lot of people out there that collect memorabilia from these serial killers. We found out you like all the true crime stuff. What you've been through, you might be one to collect these things, are you?
No, I walked away from it, like I said, years ago.
Mm-hmm.
In my mental health, I was, even when my jaw was wired shut during those 9 weeks, I used to not want to live in a little box, wanted to have my room open with the fresh air blowing in. But I had this ugly thing behind me, this thing that was encompassing me, and I knew it was Bundy and all the nastiness. And I, far in the distance, I saw a little island, and my little island had a palm tree and one chair on it, and it was really small. And I took baby steps to get to it, and sometimes I would look behind me, and that nastiness was a couple steps behind me. And as I continued toward my island, I finally reached it. I put my toes in the sand, and I looked in front of me, and it was all gone. It was nothing nasty in front of me anymore.
You know, and then you've got not only surviving this, and this is all in Kathy's memoir, Light in the Dark, Surviving More Than Ted Bundy. You've also survived illnesses throughout your life. So you are a survivor of Ted Bundy, and what are the other, you breast cancer?
Yes, when I was 30, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
30.
And when I was 13, I was diagnosed with systemic lupus.
Lupus.
Which is a form of lupus that attacks your organs.
Yeah.
And I was in the hospital for 3 months after my 6th grade of school, so they didn't know what was wrong with me. And they finally sent me home after 3 months and told my parents just to keep me comfortable that they didn't know what was wrong with me.
Wow.
And there was a Cuban doctor whom Mom met in the hospital, and she said that she wanted to try some chemo for me, some experimental chemo. And Mom and Dad just looked at each other and said, "Of course, anything to heal my baby." So I did take the chemo. I lost all my hair. I was homebound for my 7th grade of school. And I would look out the window, and no one could come in the house, and I couldn't go out, and the kids were playing outside, and I was alone. And sometimes I would pick up the phone and dial 0 just to have someone to talk to or help me with my homebound homework. So sometimes they talked, and sometimes they couldn't. So that was my reach to the outside world as the operator.
So anyone listening to this conversation on the podcast right now, when you're having a crappy day, just think of Kathy Kleiner. I mean, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, what this woman has been through, and to survive it and still be so positive and so chipper on the back end.
Mm-hmm. It just lets you know that whatever you're going through, it's not that bad. She is a prime example of somebody beating the odds and coming out on the other side with not one freckle on her face.
Did I'm assuming you did, but later on in life, get married, have children of your own?
Yes, I have a son who's about 42 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My baby.
Your baby. And when you...
it's interesting, like when you have lupus, one of the things they tell you is not to get sunshine, not to go in the sun, and also not to have children. And at that point in my life, I was like, say what? I'm going to have a baby. So my mom, I remember, was so upset with me. Oh, my God, you're going to kill yourself. And my ex-in-laws were like, yay, we're having a baby. So it was such a diverse feeling that night when they saw the cake, having a baby, Grandma.
So, because you said ex-in-laws, I'm assuming your ex-husband, when you met him, how soon into dating him did you tell him about the Ted Bundy stuff?
He was pretty much aware of it. He was from South Florida, and that's where I was. That's where I grew up. So he was familiar very much with the case. He actually went to Florida State. And I had dated him for about, half a year, 7 months or so, when we actually got married in June of 78. And that was supposed to be a good time for me. And I think I got married for the wrong reasons at that point. I don't think anyone I had married would have lasted, for marrying for the wrong reasons. But I did have my baby. And he's healthy, and now I have 2 grandkids.
Wow, good for you. So you married June of 78. This took place in January of 78, and you were dating him at the time of the attack from Bundy?
Yes. Yes, he was at Florida State as well.
All right, so if I'm that guy, I would feel horrible. Like, I would feel so helpless that I was not there to protect you. So he must have had some type of survivor's guilt as well, right?
We never talked about it. It's funny how my parents really never talked about it. People heal in their own way, and he did too. He had to go through his emotions, and it wasn't, we didn't sit down every night at dinner and say, so what was the last time you got attacked? It was very flippant because we never really talked about it.
God, I'm so glad we can laugh about serial killers with
Right.
you. I mean, Jesus, you're making this difficult for me, Kathy, because there's a ton of million jokes I can throw out there, but we're talking about a woman that survived Ted Bundy, and she's the one making all the jokes.
Yes.
Right.
I can't keep up with you, Kathy. I can't keep up with you. Yeah, I would just.
Well, that's me.
Yeah, and you're awesome. I got to tell you, you're awesome. I just, I didn't realize the connection there with your ex-husband, and at the same time, what about the other girls that were attacked and or killed in the sorority house? Were they in relationships? Did they later marry the ones that survived those people? And what happened to the guys? Because I'm sure that was just as detrimental to the guys. I mean, outside of dying, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right after the attack, all the boyfriends and all the guys that worked in the sororities and all, everyone like that had any association with the women were all interrogated and made, asked a lot of questions and had to stay in an area so they couldn't communicate with each other until they, whittled it down to none of them were actually the killer. As far as the girls going on to marry him, I don't know that. There was a time where when my jaw was wired shut, I felt like I needed to talk to my sorority sisters, and I would call the phone, and no one was there, and they'd call me back. And after a while, they didn't call me back, and I stopped trying. So I don't know what happened to the other women and, their boyfriends.
Mm.
But, if you look at it now, I can understand why they didn't call me back because they were 20 and 21, and they had a life to live. They were still at college, and baseball games and football games continued. So for them to look back and try to call me to talk about it, I would think would be very harmful for them.
Does that sorority house still stand?
Yes, they actually rebuilt it.
Yeah. Did they keep anything original in honor of the victims?
No.
No. Was your
No,
husband?
everything was gone.
Was your ex-husband in a fraternity?
No.
Oh, okay. Seeing if we had a connection of
Yeah.
Sigma Chi's. Sigma Chi's would have come to the rescue. We'd have known.
You wouldn't have
You
known.
would've known.
Nobody couldn't have known.
Sigma
that.
Chi's would have known. I'm telling you, we would have known.
People in the house didn't know.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
That's crazy to think that. Just, I mean, because I know what these houses look like. They look huge and big from the outside, but it's dormitory.
Uh-huh.
It's like right across.
Yeah.
And to think that you have the serial killer of serial killers right across from your room and not have a damn clue what's going on.
Well, or imagine that your room was upstairs, or that woman decided to stay over at her boyfriend's house that night.
Right.
If she doesn't come home and those lights don't spray into the bedroom, he's still there, and he finishes what he started.
So did you play the what if game?
Exactly.
Did you play the what if? What if we would have locked our door that night? What if you would have stayed over your boyfriend's house? What if? Did you play that game for a while?
I did. I had to go through things in my head. Like I had to heal myself, so I had to go through every scenario I could think of. So I knew that it wasn't going to come back and haunt me at a later time.
Mhm.
I wanted to force myself to think about it and get it over with, just because that's what I am and that's who I am. I didn't. Everyone handles trauma differently, and my way was just to talk it out. And other women who are going through trauma or have been going through trauma, they just need to know that it's not their fault. Whatever is happening to them is not their fault. They need to take the journey away from whomever is hurting them and make it their journey and walk toward their goals and whatever they want to do. They just need to move forward.
A light in the dark, surviving more than Ted Bundy. Kathy Kleiner survived Ted Bundy. Kathy Kleiner survived lupus.
Yeah.
Kathy Kleiner survived breast cancer. And she's funnier than the whole damn room.
Oh, right.
She is. She's hilarious.
You are my hero. You are my favorite person in the world right now, Kathy.
Right.
So
Thank you very much.
you're very sweet. Thank you for sharing your story. And for the ladies that are listening, I'm sure that you've motivated them and you've given them some encouragement, and whatever anybody might be dealing with kind of made them see things a little bit differently after this conversation. So thank you for that.
Definition of inspiration.
Yeah.
That's her.
All right, Kathy.
Thank you.
Well, thanks.
All right.
Thanks for all the time, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much for letting me talk with you.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you, Kathy. All right, we'll see it. Kathy Kleiner there. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Like, I felt uncomfortable.
Remarkable.
I felt uncomfortable with her making jokes about it. Like, I mean, there's a million jokes I'd make with us three.
Right, like you could have made them, but it still like
No,
felt wrong.
you gotta let her make the jokes. You gotta
Uh-huh.
let her make the funny haha because she's the one that's been through it.
You know, I mean, like, what a great gimmick. You have an elderly woman. If she did stand-up, she's the only stand-up that survived Ted Bundy, and she just tells fucking serial killer jokes.
There you have it.
Oh, my God.
There you have it. She'd be a hit.
Oh, my God. Nelson trying to do stand-up. That's what you got to That's what you got to do. You got to dig deep inside and have something like that happen to you.
Okay.
You got to go find yourself a serial killer story.
I'll just be a loser. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but loser's already been played out. Everybody's a loser.
no, I just mean
somewhere.
like I can quit stand up and be a loser forever and not have to go through
What she
surviving
went through.
surviving a serial killer
Well-
and one of the most prolific serial killers.
Right. Yeah, you know, I can't think of the movie, but it's a movie. It wasn't like in the theater movie. It was an for television movie, I want
Like
to
a
say.
Lifetime sort of thing, ripped from the headlines where they
Well,
redo it.
It came out before the rip from the headlines was a
Yeah,
thing.
but I'm saying like that type of movie.
Yeah, God, I wish I could. Are you looking it up right now?
Yeah, I'm trying to find
I want
it
to
out.
say it came out in the 80s, probably late 80s. The guy that plays Ted Bundy actually looks like Christopher Reeves. No, Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, I got that wrong earlier, by the way.
Oh, did you? Somebody
Reeve.
correct you?
Well, no, I realized that as you said Reeves and you hit it with the S, and I go, damn it, it was George Reeves and
See?
Christopher Reeve.
I'll read what you put in front of me. And the woman that
Okay,
played his
Ron
girlfriend, I think, actually became like a known actress. And there's a scene in this. That's where I got the whole, he hit him over the head with his cast. He had this yellow VW bug. And then he took him to this little cabin thing. And he'd kill him and then have sex with him. But, Babe, your mic.
Yeah,
you got,
just pull the microphone.
you got,
up, yeah.
come on.
It was on the ID channel.
It was on the ID years ago.
There is a movie that came out in 1986. It was on NBC called The Deliberate Stranger.
There you go. That's it. That's it.
Mhm.
That's what I'm talking
It was
about.
a 2-part television movie.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And there's a scene where, he goes home, he's with his girlfriend, and he's kind of complaining that their sex life isn't that strong.
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of a prude. And he convinces her to, get a little freaky. And she's like, what do you want to do? And they get in bed, and he's like, pretend that you're dead.
Oh.
And he puts his hands around her throat, and he's like, no,
We watched it again on the ID channel not that long ago.
don't move. Just pretend like you're dead,
Uh-huh.
right? Just pretend like you're dead. And like, if you're the girlfriend, that's a heads up. That's a red flag,
That's something
yeah.
ain't right here.
right? I mean, like, it's nothing. There's nothing wrong with being a little freaky, but that's uncomfortably freaky.
Yeah, that says some ain't going all the way up to the top in that elevator.
Yeah, right. That's when you call a friend,
Absolutely.
right? That's when how to make a millionaire it, right? Like, hey, your
I don't
buddy
know about
Ted.
this.
Your buddy Ted. Can you give me a little background on him if you don't mind, please? So anyway, a light in the dark, surviving more than Ted Bundy. So anyway, yeah. So the thing with Kathy Kleiner is, because I know with these podcasts, we're just. I'm not going to do them like I did the old ones, where we're going to have it's so compartmentalized.
Yeah, no.
It's just going to be like whatever the fuck happens. And with Kathy, we had her scheduled for the radio show like twice. Well, one was my fault, one was not my fault. And so, unfortunately for the radio show, we couldn't take the time that we had with her on the
No way.
podcast. So I think she was better. I thought she would be better on the podcast.
Yeah, we got to talk to her a lot longer and get more information.
Yeah, no shit. All right, so here's the thing, because I know we're going to wrap this up in a little bit. I've got to say this. Totally not serial killer-esque. But I'm extremely pissed off at a very popular band. And I need this message to get to this band, and I need this message to get to one person in the band in particular. So for those two peers that are listening, take to social media and talk to NSYNC. Talk to Justin Timberlake and let him know my frustration with him and the band. And I'm going to give you a little backstory.
Say, what did he do to you?
Well, I'm going to tell you what he did to me, Nikki. So here's the thing. Nobody else in the world knows this information.
Okay.
And this is because of my exclusive research.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've done research that has backing to what I'm about to tell everybody. So this podcast stuff is very exciting for you folks that are listening. We went from surviving serial killers to NSYNC. All right. So here's the thing. The reason NSYNC got together Well, I can't say why they got together. Let me rephrase that. NSYNC getting together ruined my chances of ever finding my favorite jeans again.
Oh, my God.
Oh, this is where this is going. Okay, I got you.
Okay. So a few years back, Justin Timberlake started this company, in which I think he was more the face than anything else, probably maybe a few dollars, but he was definitely collecting, with his childhood friend.
Mm-hmm.
And the company was called William Rast. Okay. William Rast started producing some pretty damn cool clothes. Now, I just happened at the time to run across William Rast because I'm a Macy's shopper at Dillard's. So I would,
Dillard's.
back in Atlanta, I'm at North Point Mall, Ghost Mall. Nobody's in there but me and my William Rast jeans. And I would always find them because I don't want to spend a lot of money. I'd find them on the clearance rack. It'd be like $30, $40. That's right in my wheelhouse. And they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever fucking put on.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely most comfortable jeans I've ever put on. I love these jeans. And I don't love much. I love these jeans.
Okay.
Love much as your wife sits here in the room.
Well, I love her too, but these
Okay.
jeans are
Making
pretty
sure that
like
You
on
bought
par.
your jeans off of the clearance rack, and you wonder why you can't find them now.
No. They just because they were so hot
Mm-hmm.
that they had to mass produce them and get rid of them.
Yep.
And I'm
Now you can buy them at Walmart.
And I'm sticking. Well, I don't know that's true. I think that's the internet line, to be honest with you. So here's the thing: is I did some digging the other night. I'm like, I'm trying to. It's the internet. There has to be these jeans available. Nobody just stops making jeans. If you're making a profit, you're doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Justin freaking Timberlake. No one's.
This is what we call OCD, ladies and gentlemen.
So you just don't stop making jeans. So I found out that this company went bankrupt a few years back. William Rast.
Mm-hmm.
They sold out to another company. Their website and their social media hasn't been updated in years. They just, nobody's talked about this. This needs to be brought to people's attention.
I don't think anybody wore those jeans but you.
That's not true. These jeans were very popular among celebrities.
Were they? Because nobody's talking about these jeans but you.
Okay, well, that's where, and I don't want to be rude, but this is where you're a little bit out of the loop with me and the celebrities.
Oh, okay.
Is that they were the most not talked about jeans in our world.
Okay, but they were super popular.
We wanted to keep it on the DL. Me and
You and the celebrities.
Right.
Okay.
we wanted to keep it on the DL because we didn't want. That's gonna sound horrible.
Go ahead.
People like you to wear them.
Oh,
Right.
us regular folks. Okay, got
Right.
you.
Like, have you ever heard of Raya?
No.
Raya is a dating app only for the famous.
Oh,
and
okay.
that's why
so
you
that's
haven't.
what these jeans are?
Right.
Only
So-
for the famous and Bailey?
If you
That's-
know,
I told
you
him
know.
that, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Gotcha.
learned it from him.
I told him that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, let me finish up the story here.
Go ahead.
Can't find these jeans. I'm Googling everywhere. Can't find them. Nowhere. Maybe you can find them used, but who the fuck wants to wear used jeans? So then I find out that the idea of NSYNC getting back together the rumor mill started a couple years ago when William Rast went bankrupt.
Uh-huh.
So fucking Justin Timberlake, you punk ass bitch,
Hey.
you decided to stop with William Rasting so you can go in sync again. So because you can't multitask, I can't find your fucking jeans.
So
What an asshole.
No, he's not that. It's called he moved on with his life, and you're going to have to move on with yours.
He couldn't have gotten a proxy. He couldn't have asked Justin Bieber or Justin Thoreau or
No.
Justin Credible or Justin
No.
Time.
This is your fault. This is your fault and your celebrity friends. You want to know why? Because if you all purchased enough of these so popularly exclusive jeans,
Off
he
the
wouldn't have
clearance
even
rack.
thought twice about NSYNC. He would have said, oh, no. Justin Bailey and all my celebrity friends are buying way too many jeans.
Hold on. Did you just call him Justin
I
Bailey?
think she said Justin
yeah,
Bailey.
there was a Justin Bailey in there. I caught a Justin Bailey.
Well, same.
Look, Angela D, that's not my
Wow.
name. All right, Kiki.
Same.
This from the woman who jumped your ass for spelling an I instead of Y.
Right.
At least it was the same name.
Correct, yeah.
You feel so good about this receipt right now, don't you? No.
I do. Yeah,
no,
I've been
I-
waiting all day.
I was actually just being polite and waiting for you to stop blabbering until I corrected you, but he cut you off.
Yeah, he had to do it.
Oh, I needed it.
He wanted to talk loudly again.
See, you
That
can't
was
find
his
him. You
opportunity.
can't find
I'm
him. can you?
looking. No, I can find one ladies' pair of William Rast.
It's
jeans.
literally the only you can find out where Jimmy Hoffa is on the internet. You can't find William Rast jeans on the internet
5 left in stock, high rise, slim straight. So high waters basically.
for
But they're-
chicks.
Yeah, but
You
they're
could
lady
go
jeans.
on a diet.
Yeah, no, they're for chicks.
And they're high waters. So even if they were lady jeans, it's like it'll still be above his ankle.
And look,
They'd be to his knees.
everybody knows
Right.
finding new jeans is like finding a new hairstylist. It's like breaking up with somebody when you don't have, because you're just used to them. Nobody gets different types of jeans, right? You have your go-to.
No,
Girls
I get,
do.
Yeah, I get jeans from everywhere.
No,
I
guys don't.
have a
Yeah, I was
particular
gonna say,
jean
no.
or a brand of
Guys don't.
jean. If they're cute and I can afford it, I'm gonna buy it.
Guys
they
don't.
fit right. Make your
Yep.
butt look right.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's all you need.
guys don't, right?
No.
Yeah, we have a jean.
You got a jean.
We don't want to dilly-dally. We get our jeans, we put them on, and we do our thing.
I don't know if Nelson's the best person to go to for
Why,
that.
'cause
I've
I'm
seen
not a
him
guy?
only wear one pair of jeans since I've known him.
Well, here, let me say this about Nelson, and this is actually an interesting conversation we're having today. Ironically enough, he's wearing jeans, and I was going to say this. I'm going to say it now on the podcast.
Okay.
But I was going to say this to him in private. I was going to pull him aside and say this to him in private because we were in the restroom together, and I walked out and I saw him wearing the jeans. He actually looks really, really good in these jeans.
Are they
He
good
does.
butt
Those
jeans?
are his good jeans, and those are the only pair I think he has.
I think
No, I got 4 pairs.
I think if there's ever a reason to be motivated to lose some lbs, is because I'm going to tell you, you at your size now,
Yeah.
you look good in those jeans. I can only
does.
imagine if you dropped 100 bills.
Oh my God, right?
Ooh, good butts.
You have
Yeah, no
got
butt. There's no butt ever.
no, but you've got a jean butt.
You think?
I don't think, son. I know.
Okay.
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 So if there's ever
I'll take the
somebody
foot
to
over.
inspire you, like do it for your ass.
You like good butts.
Right. Do it for your ass, because if I'm noticing that ass, can you imagine
Dead ass.
the Trudies out there
Oh, I know.
that would want to get all up in that ass?
Ooh. Explore, ladies.
That ass that good at 400 bills,
Mhm.
you lose some lbs, that ass just gets better.
Yeah, I think I maintain this weight because
You got a
it
good
would-
ass.
Thank you.
I wanted to.
Give me a squeeze. It wouldn't be fair if I was a healthy weight, to the rest of men everywhere. So I do this. I handicap myself for y'all.
Well, I would like to see what the ass looks like. We'll go 50, 100, 150, 200. Because
200.
I've got a good ass. I got a really good ass.
It's firm.
It's good. It's
How
tight.
do you know it's firm? You
I
touched
look
it?
at it sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Women
I
look.
don't mind
If
my
women
business.
can compliment
I
other
pinch his
women,
butt every day.
guys can compliment other guys.
Yeah.
I mean, if he sees your butt and he says he thinks it's firm, that's fine.
We're both
It's not my
comfortable
business.
in our
Yeah.
manhood.
Y'all in the bathroom checking each other out. That's fine. Totally normal.
See, but the difference is we don't openly say it like women do. Like, oh my God, you look so cute, which is always bullshit and lies. See, us guys will check it out telepathically. We'll send the message,
Yeah.
and then if we have a podcast, which everybody in the country does, then you bring it up on the podcast.
Unless, of course, you're that
Got
sales
it.
guy that works out there with the fat ass on him. You ever seen him?
Oh, he's
Yeah.
I call him thickness.
yeah,
He has childbearing hips.
he's
And
a,
he knows it, too.
yeah, he's a,
I think I just saw him.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you
yeah,
can't miss him.
Yeah.
He got a dump truck on him.
yeah. He's got ledges.
Oh, my God, right?
Yeah, on each side.
Yeah.
That was the other day. I was like looking for my energy drink, and I left it on his hip.
It balanced.
Yeah,
All right.
that is no joke.
Let's wrap it. Let's wrap it up. Wrap it up. Unless you got something else. You got something?
No,
No, that was it.
No. You got something?
no,
we,
just
we,
men
we got
supporting
another
men.
meeting coming up here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make that one.
Oh, I bet you're real broken up about that.
Tell me how your 8th meeting of the day goes.
Well, in the post-meeting meeting.
Yeah. Let's meet about your meeting.
And then meet again afterwards.
Yeah.
And then call me to tell me about your meeting.
Right. Yeah. Let's meet. Let's talk about the meeting. Let's Zoom about the meeting.
Right.
Not be able to figure out the Zoom, but I've never seen anything like it. Always interesting. Life, ain't it? All right, Nikki D, you got anything?
Yeah, meet me.
Meet me. Meet you on your meat flap
meet
app.
me, yeah.
Diamond Girls or whatever. What is it?
Black Diamond.
Black Diamond.
Top
so-
badge.
So racist.
Let's go.
You looking good, boy. That's what I got to say to you.
Well, I was going to ask you
We're going down.
where you got those jeans.
I got them from Dillard's, actually.
Dillard's is the
Yeah,
jean
I love
headquarters.
Dillard's, man.
HQ.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Gene HQ. All right, look. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so for everybody, you two peers who don't know what a two peer is, and you're new to the podcast because of some of our new folks here in California, head on to the Facebook and search the BS Two Peers and ask to join the Facebook group. And I don't think I've declined anyone yet. It's been around for a couple of years, and be a part of a really, 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 really good group of people there. Social media, listen to the BS. On YouTube, we put the entire show up there at The Bailey Show. If you can, wherever you're at in the world, the radio show, Monday through Friday on 98 Rock in Sacramento from 6A to 10A Pacific Standard Time. Keep that in mind for folks back east. But you can always get the podcast on the Odyssey app or thebaileyshow.com. All right. As always, we appreciate you listening. Thanks for being here. Have yourself a great, safe rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday. And bye.
Get off my lawn! It's old man Kevin, and the BS is done for right now.
Please share, like, and support.
TheBaileyShow.com.
Now, get out of here.